All right, what's up, everybody? It is your good old boy JR coming to you live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, I got my buddy here, Brandon from Houston, Texas. Brandon, how you feeling today, my man?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're about a month away from the NFL draft. We got a lot of picks left to go, but it's almost time, man. Little by little, we're gonna get closer to our pick number 32, and then that's it. And then we just have to wait for the real thing, and that's about it. So I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm excited for it. And then, got my draft hat ordered or ready to go. So, yeah, man, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to do this thing, man.
That's awesome. I wish I was there in Vegas for that day. That would be awesome.
You will be there in spirit. I will be
I will
messed
be there
up.
in spirit. There it goes.
I
I'm
will
gonna
be
live
messed
vicariously. I'm gonna live vicariously through you.
I will be messed up, but you will be there. But let's get to it. You ready to make the second pick for the New York Football Giants?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, before we get there, this is how it's going to work today. So, how the Giants got this pick is they made a trade with the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears made a trade with the New York Giants last year to get the services of one Justin Fields in the first round. Chicago does not have a first rounder, but we're going to talk about him today because everybody needs to be involved. And the New York Giants are on the clock again, but we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears. So we'll get there in a minute. Chicago! Chicago! What can I say, man? It's a new era. It's a new day. After another Matt Nagy performance of 6-11, 27th best offense and 22nd best defense. The Matt Nagy era is officially over after 4 years. It is officially over. It's over. No, 3 years. Excuse me. I gave him more credit than I should. 3 years. It is officially over. And
Am I the only one
just,
that's happy about this? Am I the
I
only one
mean,
happy?
I'm sure there's a lot of Chicago Bear fans that are really happy about it too. But let's just go over his final draft class, which turned out to be, you know what, not as bad as people think. It really wasn't as bad as people think it is, and I'll explain why. So, as I mentioned, the Chicago Bears traded up in last year's draft with the New York Giants to get this quarterback from Ohio State. His name was Justin Fields. He didn't start. People don't remember this, but he did not start the season as a starting quarterback. That was actually due to the reigns of Andy Dalton. And after 6 games, it's like, yep, you are Andy Dalton. So they gave Justin Fields the little bit of a let go of, all right, let's see what you can do. Let's see what we can make you happen. So 11th pick in the first round last year, the Chicago Bears went Justin Fields. And Matt Nagy, I think, held them back more than any head coach has ever held a quarterback before. Only 1,800 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Now, is this to say that is Justin Fields a bust when everybody had questions about him last year? Absolutely not. This is myself. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Thanks for coming back, man. I myself had Justin Fields as the second best rated quarterback, and that does not mean that he's a bust already because of the Chicago Bears. If more anything, this is a good thing that Matt Nagy got fired. When you can't produce a young quarterback with the skill set that he could possibly have, you got to go, man. You got to go. But not every pick was bad. Second round, they got the left tackle out of Oklahoma State, Tevin Jenkins. See, Carolina, you draft the lineman, and then you plug them in right away. Okay, that's how they learn. That's how they learn. And guess what? He is now the future left tackle for the Chicago Bears for the foreseeable future because he played amazing. Played amazing. He had that little injury scare in preseason and training camp. He came through it, and now he's your starting left tackle. So that's already 2 starters, 2 key important positions in the offense that you already got figured out. Your quarterback, your left tackle. That's pretty freaking good. Now, as the trade goes, they didn't pick again until the 5th round. You had to wait because just the price for Justin Fields was pretty hefty. And the New York Giants price was asking for a very hefty. So they waited until the 5th round, pick number 151. They got Larry Borum, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. He is the backup now for Tevin Jenkins, believe it or not. So, hey, I mean, backup's backup, and you can do whatever you want now. Now, they had 3 6th-round picks. The first one, they take the running back out of Virginia Tech, Khalil Herbert, which, to all standards of how the offense was being run by Matt Nagy, ran it as good as he could run it. 433 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 receptions, 96 yards. He ran it to the best of his ability. There was nothing this man could do other than split carries with David Montgomery, and they look like a formidable 1-2 combo in the near future. Daz Newsome, listen, man, this is special teams territory, and that's exactly what he is. He's a special teams player. 2 receptions, 53 yards. It is what it is, man. You just hope that you can find players that can contribute on all aspects of the game. Now, Thomas Graham, the cornerback out of Oregon, look, man, special teams again, and you do what you can do. 6 tackles, 4 pass deflections. Special teams is majority of the team anyway. If you really, really want to think about it, there are 22 starters. That's it. 22. 11 on offense, 11 on defense. The rest of you guys are going to have to make special teams. That is a lot. So you got to fit in where you get in. And then Chris Tonga, their last pick in the 7th round, 24 tackles, 1 fumble recovery. I mean, he was a rotational guy. But if you look at the depth chart right now, with the releases of Eddie Goldman, Akeem Nicks is now a free agent. He is now your starter. Now, I don't expect that to happen. If he's going to go in as a starter, then he must have done some really good things for a 7th rounder to come all the way up to be the starter for the Chicago Bears like that. But let's talk about this team. Brandon, in one word, how would you describe the Chicago Bears season?
Fields.
Oof.
Fields. I think they screwed up. Waited too damn long to give that man a chance. And it's all on Matt Nagy, clearly. I do not, like you yesterday with Matt Rule, I have a really, 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 really big problem with Matt Nagy. Don't really like him that much as a head coach. Thought he was terrible. I think most of his playoff runs that he did have was really because of the defense that you had. It wasn't really because your offense was actually good. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky barely beat Philly. I mean, barely got in that game against Philly. The defense kept you in that game. And if it wasn't for your kicker missing field goals, you probably would have got beat the next week any damn way. So it didn't really faze me. I think Matt Nagy held Justin Fields back, man, so much that now they had to get rid of him. And they didn't even hire. This is how bad Matt Nagy was. They didn't even hire an offensive head coach. They didn't just like, no, we're going to hire a defensive coach from the Indianapolis Colts. That's going to be our new head man. They didn't even try and go get somebody that's an offensive-minded head coach. They're like, screw that. We just had that for 3 years. That sucked. That was a terrible decision. We are not doing that again. We're going to build this defense, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is how terrible the Matt Nagy era is. Matt Nagy got gifted a once-in-a-lifetime defensive unit, and you being the offensive guru that you were, you couldn't put nothing together, man. Imagine having that defense, and you just could not put a formidable offense together.
Even though they're not picking, the Chicago Bears fall in the same line as the team we are picking for today, Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. You reached for a quarterback that nobody was going to take at that moment. When you still have Deshaun Watson on the damn board, how do you do that?
I get it. It was a different time. And it was a different, but you got to understand the different situations between both quarterback classes. This was the quarterback. Okay. Mitchell Trubisky's class. This was the problem. Everybody had mixed feelings about the Patrick Mahomes, the Deshaun Watsons, and the Mitchell Trubiskys because the Deshaun Watson was kind of weird to me because the man just won a championship. He just beat Alabama.
He just beat Alabama. Come on.
Like he beat and honestly, that championship game was one of the best championship games in the history of college football. Like it was amazing.
Him and Vince Young Him and Vince
It's kind
Young.
of fun. It's kind of funny now thinking about it. Like, oh my god, the game-winning touchdown pass was to Hunter Renfro. It's just funny to me now. Like, oh my god, like you're right, yeah. But that was weird. Now the Patrick Mahomes, I can understand
At that time.
because at the time I could understand it because it was a run and shoot. Doesn't really necessarily translate well to the NFL.
Okay, here's the thing. Even though it was run and shoot, Patrick Mahomes was still putting up NFL numbers in college.
Yeah,
like
no.
He had a game. Think about this for a second. He had a game, and if he had a better team and a better defense at that moment, he had a game against Baker Mayfield where they both combined for over 1,000 yards passing and like 13 touchdowns. In college, which we talked about that yesterday, it was the Big 12, so that really doesn't count. But their defense clearly
There's
doesn't
that.
count. Their defense doesn't. The defense of the Big 12 don't count. But if he had a better team, he probably would have won that game. I'm just saying, Patrick Mahomes, if he would have fell a little farther down, he would have been a Saint. I'm still pissed off about that. Just personally.
I just think that, how many college quarterbacks have we seen that would put up big numbers and never really translate to the NFL?
True. Here's the thing, though.
But I mean, granted, listen, the talent was there. Nobody was discarding him as, okay, maybe he could be a first rounder. Only one team saw him how he is today, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs said, let's do it. Because they're the only team. Remember, they're the only team that thought that way.
Hold on. Think about this for a second. Mitchell Trubisky was the first quarterback taken out of that draft.
Yeah.
And now we literally do not know if he's even a starter in the NFL.
Well, the Steelers signed him to be.
Okay, here's the thing. We will still have to draft the Steelers. That's coming up soon. Who said they're not gonna draft a quarterback? I'm just saying.
Okay, I get it. All the options are there.
They might play the Wayne Haskins for all I know. We don't know. We shall see.
Look.
What I'm trying to say is Matt Nagy sucked as a head coach. Him and Ryan Pace, their GM, they were terrible together. They drafted Mitchell Trubisky knowing damn well just because he's from North Carolina and he's kind of okay with the passing. He can barely pass the ball down the football field. And you put him in a code when he's in a division with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and that's Aaron what? Rodgers. Michael brings up a good point. It's not that they drafted him. They traded up to get him.
They traded up. Literally could have just waited. All they had to wait was like, what, 4 or 5 picks?
Yeah.
That was it.
I think it was like a couple picks, but they traded up 2 picks to jump I think it was the 49ers because I think the 49ers made a play that, hey, we might get Mitchell Trubisky.
And this is how funny this is. 49ers, right after that draft, Solomon Thomas.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That same year you get Khalil Mack. Hot off. I'm gonna let it go.
Now, as you said, the differences are there. Do I think that if everything would have stayed put, do I think Justin Fields would have been there for the Bears with their original pick? Maybe. It all depends at the time because we got to look back at the time of who was there, who could have thought. Because, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on at that time. I mean, remember, the Eagles, we don't know if they were really sold on Jalen Hurts. There was rumors about other teams, like, hey, they love this kid. We don't know.
I knew the Saints were going to definitely probably take him. I knew we were going to probably take him.
If the Saints had an option, if he was there, I mean,
we're probably going to take him.
Do they pull the bullet? Do they pull the trigger on that?
We probably
All I'm saying, the Bears believe that Justin Fields was their guy, and they got him. And you know what? It happens every year. When you fall in love with a certain player and you think he's going to be the next best thing, you're going to have to sacrifice a couple picks to get the next best thing. So
it was a lot in this draft. It was a lot of teams that did that in this draft. This last draft. I mean, we haven't talked about them yet, but the 49ers.
Yeah, they did a lot. But we'll get to them later. But like I said, and you know what? The Chicago Bears, I don't think they're short for talent. I do not think they're short for talent. For one, they got David Montgomery. All right, he's a pretty good running back.
Really good running back.
All right, 849 yards. 7 touchdowns, and then 42 receptions to go with 301 yards receiving. That's a scrimmage of 1,100 yards, okay? Now, Darnell Mooney is the reason Allen Robinson is no longer a Chicago Bear. Darnell Mooney has shot to the moon what everybody kind of hoped, what Chicago kind of hoped he would be. 81 receptions, 1,055 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, look, man, we could pay Allen Robinson or we can keep producing Darnell Mooney. They went with the younger wide receiver. And then you want to talk about that defense. You want to talk about this defense that they had. Roquan Smith, Robert Quinn. Khalil Mack didn't only play 6 games, but he did some impactful things. He did okay in the 6 games that he played. It's just, he didn't do enough. But look at this. Roquan Smith, again, being the all-pro middle linebacker, Pro Bowl linebacker, I know he is. 163 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 interception, which, by the way, he took it back to the house, and 3 pass deflections. If this dude is not the best middle linebacker in the league, I dare you to tell me who is. I dare you.
There's some better ones, but there's some better ones, but he doesn't get any love because of what the Bears was supposed to be.
I mean, name me a middle linebacker that could put up those same type of numbers.
Demario Davis.
He all right. He all right. We'll get to it later.
What?
We'll get to it later. Now, Robert Quinn, who says that age is just a number? This guy is more springy today than when he came into the league. 18, ladies and gentlemen, 18 and a half sacks for the old aging veteran. Age is just a number, man. All right, this dude is just balls to the walls every freaking time. 18 and a half sacks, 49 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. And you mean to tell me that people thought he was old and he lost his motor? Hell no. Hell no. This dude is still amazing. Now, Tashawn Gibson, Deion Bush, 2 interceptions each. And like you mentioned, it was 6-11. They had to get rid of Matt Nagy. It was just, I mean, we've done episodes where it's like, dude, I think the one game where Justin Fields looked really good, and I mean really, really good, was against the 49ers when Matt Nagy wasn't even allowed to be there because he got hit with COVID or some shit like that. And he looked like an NFL freaking quarterback.
And me and you debated, should Matt Nagy stay away so Justin Fields can actually be good?
and I'm like, honest to God, at that point, the owner should have just been like, you know what? She should have just said, look, you got to go. I don't know why you're staying here all season. You got to go. Because understandably, you ask any 49er fan, they're like, yeah, Justin Fields was incredible that day. He was incredible that day.
He looked like the offense actually was his.
Yeah. I mean, he looked exactly like the Ohio State, quarterback that we all saw. Pocket passing, mobile when he has to get out of the way, and make plays with his legs when he has to. He looked like the Ohio State quarterback that I know, that I saw in all those years in college, and I said, yeah, here's a reason why he's my number 2 guy, because of plays like this. So I saw that. But now you bring in Matt Eberflus. And yes, Michael, to your point, Robert Quinn is like the new Renaissance man. Like Julius Peppers did all those years ago.
Oh.
That people just kept saying that he getting older. He's going to lose a step. And then that they kept saying that for like 8 years. And then finally his 9th, he finally had a bad year and he retired. Robert Quinn is that same thing. I think this is like his 4th year. He's old. Nah, man. Nah.
Now you're old.
You're getting old. This dude is still going. Now, Matt Eberflus, listen. I like the hire, but I know he has a lot of work to do. And it's very challenging when you're a new head coach and you don't have a first rounder. Matt Nagy screwed you in that.
Yes, he did.
All right. They all screwed you in that. Yes, but and Matt Eberflus can build that defense. If he can build a defense the same way he built, remember, we got to remember what the Indianapolis Colts defense was before he got there. It was not very good. It was not very good. It was one of those like, well, they got a couple players, but that's about it. That's about it. But now you look at that defense as a whole for Indianapolis Colts. Wow.
And he got out when the getting was good. Because the Colts defense last year was kind of okay, but it wasn't like super over the top like we usually would see them.
Oh, yeah.
But he got out when the getting was good. That was a good idea. Go be a head coach somewhere else. That was a perfect idea.
So if you could just build the same defense that, I expect them to build,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, watch out, man. Maybe the Chicago Bears have something here, but it's going to take a lot of work because remember, they don't pick until the second round. It's going to be an early second rounder, but yikes. Yikes.
Yeah.
A lot of names are going to be gone by then. And you really don't have a lot to trade to get back in the first.
You really don't. No.
So it's just what it is. So here we go. I think the biggest story of Chicago was Khalil Mack is no longer a Chicago Bear. 3 years. He got his money. And I can finally say, after the whole debate between Raider fans and Chicago Bear fans on who won that trade, Khalil Mack won the trade. He got his freaking money. The Raiders didn't win anything. The Bears didn't win anything. Khalil Mack won the trade. He got his freaking money. That's all he wanted. And he got it. Now, he's at a point of his career where it's like, I still want to get paid, but I don't want to do the heavy lifting anymore. So they traded him to Chicago or to the Los Angeles Chargers, which really, he doesn't really have to do a lot anyway.
Well, it depends if Bosa gets hurt. Then
if Bosa gets hurt, then that whole defense is done. But I don't expect that. I do not expect that now. I expect them to have a good year. Joey Bosa's there. Sante Samuel's going to be there. Derwin James is part of that defense, and now you add him
and J.C. Jackson.
See what I mean? Do you see what I mean?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Juan. I'm sorry.
I know it's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's okay, man. I'm over it. Khalil Mack wanted his money. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't have $30 million to pay the man every year. So if he wants to go get that money, then go ahead, man.
True. Yeah.
But I think this is where it's even a bigger challenge for Matt Eberflus. This is where it gets more challenging for him. Look at the names that left. Allen Robinson is now going to be going to the Los Angeles Rams, which, by the way, cheaters. It's cheating.
I mean, did they need him? Did they really need him?
No, they didn't, but they
didn't. Good God.
No, they didn't. James Daniels, he is now going to go to Pittsburgh to try to shore up that offensive line, which we all know Pittsburgh needs help in.
Good God.
Hakeem Grant is now heading to Cleveland as well. Belial Nichols is now heading to the Las Vegas Raiders. Pat O'Donnell, the punter's heading to Green Bay. Artie Burns heading to Seattle. Alex Bars heading to Las Vegas as well. Damian Williams is heading to Atlanta. Jalen Tabor is heading to Atlanta as well. Elijah Wilkinson, the guard, is heading to Atlanta. Deion Bush is now heading to Kansas City to, God help, that secondary that Kansas City needs help in. All right, the defense as a whole. But the arrivals that did come in, it wasn't that bad of a haul. It wasn't that bad of a haul when you really think about it. Justin Jones, the defensive tackle for the Los Angeles Chargers, he's coming. And I expect them to start right away. Now, there's a name here that I really love. I really love here for the Chicago Bears. And I think it's perfect because he's played under this man's system for 3 years. And this man has done it amazing. I was hoping Green Bay was going in on A-Rob. Nah, man. He saw Los Angeles calling. He's all, I'm tired of the cold. I'm tired of this cold, man. I'm done with it. Now, the name that I want to mention right now, Al-Quadin Muhammad, the defensive lineman that was from Indianapolis. Listen, man, he's a good player. Whether people want to admit this or not, he's a good rotational dude.
Yeah, he was never the starter. And I think
He was never the starter.
He was never the starter.
But he knows the system. He knows the defense that they're going to run.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in and he's going to do amazing things, I hope. And I hope he turns this around. Now, Lucas Patrick, the guard, they stole him from Green Bay, which, Green Bay's just losing everybody at this point. Byron Pringle, the wide receiver from Kansas City, is going to join as well. Trevor Siemian, you remember him. Of course you remember him. He's going to be backup to Justin Fields now.
He was decent.
Nicholas Morrow, our linebacker from the Raiders, is now heading to Chicago. Kari Blasingame, the fullback from Tennessee, and Derrick Henry's best friend, is now heading to Chicago as well. And speaking of Green Bay wide receivers, Equanimus St. Brown is heading to the Chicago Bears.
Treasury.
Yeah, traitor. I get it. Really think about this, dude. The number one wide receiver right now is Allen Lazard. We'll get to Green Bay later, man. We're gonna get to Green Bay here. All right, stay tuned, everybody. We'll get to Green Bay here in a minute.
Green Bay, I'm not laughing at your pain. Yes, I am. I'm lying.
We'll get to you in a minute, Green Bay. All right.
I'm lying.
But
good God.
But the Chicago Bears, they re-signed DeAndre Houston, the safety. All I'm saying is this: it's not going to be an easy task for Matt to try to build this team up. But if Justin Fields pans out to be the quarterback that Chicago Bears envisioned him to be, it could be smooth sailing to an easy transition to make this team get farther than where they're originally supposed to go. Because we got to remember, this is still a division with Aaron Rodgers in it, and that's it. Minnesota doesn't pose a threat anymore because everybody's gone except for Kirk Cousins. Minnesota just keeps paying him, expecting different results.
And Dalvin Cook, for now.
I want in on that show. Okay, Michael, when Green Bay's on, we'll get you in, my man. We'll get you in. Now, for Minnesota, they still keep paying Kirk Cousins, thinking different results is going to happen. Okay, fine, whatever. Listen, we love the Lions, all right? I love the Lions on this show. But it's just not going to happen. Now, I will say this, though.
Right now.
I will say this, though. They get Hard Knocks this upcoming season, and they get the draft of 2024. Yo, Detroit's winning, dog. Detroit's winning. All right? Detroit is winning right now, my man. They're hosting some stuff, man. Now it kind of makes you think my idea for the third place game in the NFL, this doesn't sound pretty stupid now, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound pretty dumb now, huh? But, all I'm saying is this. For the Chicago Bears, they need Justin Fields to be the quarterback that they envisioned him to be. And I think they got an amazing offensive coordinator to do it. They're going to build this team the right way. Not the Matt Nagy way. Not the Matt Rule way. The right way. The NFL way. And I believe in them. Minnesota equals definition of insanity. Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Brandon, the floor is yours, man, before we make our selections.
All right. Before we make our selections, I wrote down some good and I wrote down some bad for the Bears. So, the good. Fire Matt Nagy. That is like the obvious good. You should have got rid of him a long time ago. But, hey, it took you a long time, but you finally figured it out. Next thing. Get rid of Khalil Mack. That was a good thing. I think that, like he got his money. And then he got injured. That's not a good sign. That's really not a good sign. Like you said, like you always say, who won that trade? Khalil Mack won that trade. That's who won the damn trade. He got his money. He played a little bit and then left.
I don't know if you've ever seen that GIF of the dude that throws up the peace sign and then he disappears. That was Khalil Mack. He's like, "Oh, my check didn't bounce." That was Matt. That was
so. And then I wrote down the bad for Chicago. The O-line is just terrible. It's just like it's just like the Giants. It's like they can't figure out that O-line to save their lives. I don't know what it is, but ever since they have had this team, the O-line sucks. It's in shambles. Hopefully, everybody that has been signed or maybe drafted later on in the draft will approve that offensive line, but until then, that ain't happening. No time soon. And the secondary. I ain't really trust the secondary that much. I think the secondary, because they probably didn't have any pass rush. That might be the reason, but the secondary was still very just lackadaisical. They were really bad. They barely stepped up.
Yeah, it was.
And,
It's,
yeah.
Definitely gonna eat some kneecaps on Hard Knocks. Michael, Michael. Like, oh.
At least we're gonna
Anyway,
see what he meant by. At least we're gonna see what he meant by eating kneecaps.
I mean, dude. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of excited about the whole Detroit Lions getting Hard Knocks things because I'm kind of interested to see how Dan Campbell is.
When I got the news yesterday, I was like, I know Juan is like happy as hell.
Oh, dude, I cannot get enough of that. Like, I cannot get enough of his pressers, dude. It's like they leave your head scratchy, but at the same time, you're like, I want to run a wall through that man. What? I don't know why, but I just want to run through a wall for that man.
We shall see. We shall see when they get it.
But I think for Chicago at this point, it's really just about, like, not to sound stupid, but it's gonna take, like gardening a plant. It's gonna take its time. You give it some sunlight, you give it some water, you give it some love, and then it'll blossom into hopefully what will be a beautiful football team.
We shall see because they're in the windy city, so I don't know how much blossoming they're going to be able to do, but we shall.
I hear the summer gets pretty hot, so I think they have enough. I think they have enough summer. I think they have enough sun for the summer. I think that's what I know. But anyway, I will say this though. I feel bad for Chicago for not having a first round pick, and I think all the pressure is now on Justin Fields. Like we mentioned, we saw him play against the 49ers and he looked like an NFL. Now we expect him to have that type of bounce, that spring into year 2 is, you have to start. I'm not saying you have to win a lot of games because it's like, dude, I don't blame you for not winning a lot of games, but you have to at least show me that you can take a big jump from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah.
So for me, that's all I got for Chicago. So, it's going to be awesome to see what they do, how their draft class ends up. It's just unfortunately they have to wait into the later rounds because, well, they went all in for Justin Fields. And listen, I'm not saying that was a bad idea. I'm just saying when you go for a player like that, you're going to go all in, especially quarterback. Okay, you better make sure that you know what you're doing before you make that trade. So Here we go. It is now time. The Giants are now on the clock. Pick number 7. Brandon. Roger Goodell's heading to that podium. And what is the name Roger Goodell is going to name? Is read off that list or off that card when it's pick number 7 and the Giants are up on the clock again.
All right. For the number 7 pick in the 2022 draft, the New York Giants will select Garrett Wilson, Ohio State receiver. I think he ends up in New York. The reason why I say that is because they need all the help they can freaking get for Daniel Jones. Lord Jesus. Any receiver will help. Any little thing can help. Like, you know how they say any change will help this person? Anything can help this person. Like, he needs something. Like, anything. And
Yeah, I get it.
I think Garrett Wilson, being a receiver from Ohio State, and a lot of people forget, he's actually a better receiver out of him than Christian Olave. Like, a lot of people forget that. He actually can catch the ball. He's actually a speedy receiver. He can actually do a lot of these route trees. He's one of the best receivers. And I think he fits New York because they need a lot of damn things. And so it kind of reminds me like an Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry in a sense. It's like, which one do you really want?
How bad is that? How bad is that a year later, the Giants might have to take a page out of the Detroit Lions and draft another wide receiver, take a page out of Philadelphia and draft another wide receiver in the first round again? Because the possibility is there. The possibility is there. And Garrett, listen, a lot of people forget, Garrett Wilson was steps above Chris Olave. Okay, he was steps above him. Now, here's the thing about the Garrett Wilson thing. Is he truly the best wide receiver in this draft class? Some people say yes. I say yes. Some people say no. Some people have different opinions. Some people say, I think it was a system. Some people will say, no, he truly is that good of a wide receiver. I think if he goes here, should he go here? a lot would have to be said about Kadarius Toney. A lot would have to be said, like, yo, Kadarius, you just ain't it, dude.
I would just say he's a slot guy. I think they need a number one or a number
At
two.
that point, you're telling Kadarius Toney, listen, man, Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson, Sterling Shepard, you in the slot. Get used to it.
I mean, well, you still got Kenny Galladay, so no, that's not gonna work.
Well, I mean, Kenny Galladay, I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, he's gonna injure himself. He's gonna be out. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's be real for a second.
That's true.
I mean, let's be real for 2 seconds here, okay? But Garrett Wilson, the first wide receiver in this mock draft. I didn't think it was going to be that early. I didn't see wide receiver that early. But I can see why you did it because, yes, they do need another wide receiver because, 1, of injury, and 2, Kadarius
Necessity.
Toney. They need necessity. Yes, I know Kadarius Toney was taken last year. We're good. I've seen enough. I've seen enough to know that, hey, you're just not a fit for the New York Giants, man. The Saints with Sean Payton last year? Oh, yeah. That would have been great. Not with this guy. But we'll see. Maybe Brian Daboll has a couple things set up for him. Hopefully. That's what he was brought in to do. So, okay. So we got the first wide receiver taken off the board in Garrett Wilson. So with my pick, with the 7th pick in the draft, I looked at everything. I looked at what was their biggest need. I took Evan Neal. 2 picks ago. All right, I took Evan Neal. Number 5 at right tackle, which is fine. Then I look back into it. I look back into their depth, and I'm like, okay, what is their biggest need? Well, I can't go safety because in my universe, he's already packed in Houston. He's already on a plane to Houston by the time number 7 is being called out. He's already heading off to Houston, wherever he's at. I can't double dip on offensive linemen because I don't think there's another offensive lineman that's could be that worth. Not saying worthy, but I don't think you want to double dip on offensive lineman that quick. I don't think you want to go pass rusher here because is any of these guys I'm about to name any better than this man? So you got to go BPA. You have to go best player available here for the Giants. And I say here with the 7th pick in the 2022 NFL mock draft, in my world, the New York Giants select Ahmad Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. You have to do it. You have to do it for these reasons alone. One, there was already talks about James Atterbury. I hope I'm saying his name right. Being traded. James Bradbury being traded away. He's going to stick around. You signed Adoree Jackson, he's a good corner. I don't trust him as my number 2. And at this point, you got to go BPA. I think he's better than Thibodeau. I think he's better than Walker. I think he's better than, a bunch of these names I can name right now. George Karafalatis, the pass rusher from Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, pass rusher is an option here. So was a guard. So was the wide receiver. But I think at this point, you got to go BPA. And in my universe and in my mock draft, the best player available at this point is Sauce. It's Sauce Gardner. It's the corner out of Cincinnati. I mean, there's nothing not to like about this kid. Understand this. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. Height, weight, check. 3-time first team all AAC. Freshman, sophomore, junior. He made it. He made first team. Second he stepped into that field. AAC Defensive Player of the Year this year and a consensus All-American this year. You have to do it. You have to do it. Yeah, Bradbury, Gardner at cornerback for the Giants. I agree, Michael. Lockdown, baby. It's a lockdown over there. I see it. I can see it. And then really think about this. Look at his stats. In his freshman year, his true freshman year, 31 tackles, 3 interceptions, which, by the way, 2 of those were pick 6s. So immediately you already knew right away, oh, this dude can play corner. Doesn't matter what school he went to. This dude can play corner. To go along with 8 pass deflections. 2020, 28 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 sack, 6 pass deflections. You know what that showed me his sophomore year? You can put him anywhere. And he's just an all-around hard-nosed football player. 2021, 40 tackles, 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, 4 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. I want people to understand why I'm putting pass deflections up here. Freshman year was 8. Sophomore was 6. This year in his junior year was 4. Do you know why those numbers kept going down and down and down?
He stopped trying them.
People stopped trying him.
Stopped trying them. Yeah.
Because people realized
It's like, yeah, that's a stupid
he's
thing to do.
good.
That's
He's
like, yeah,
locked
we're
your
not gonna do
dude. Whatever. And listen, even though Cincinnati got blown out by Alabama, watch his tape against Alabama.
that. They didn't go to him.
Look how he put hands on Jameis Williams. Look how he put hands on John Mechie.
Yeah.
Look how he covered their tight ends, and look how he tackled their running backs. Bryce Young and Nick Saban came together in a meeting and said, okay, wherever he's at, do not look his way.
Yeah.
Understand, John Mechie was on him. He was on John Mechie all game. That was his worst performance ever in his history of Alabama as being a wide receiver. Why? Because Gardner said, no, I'm going to stop you today.
You know me. I like Gardner, but I got him going to the Jets because he's with a defensive-minded head coach and will know how to use him properly. I think if he goes to the Giants, I don't trust their new defensive coordinator in the Giants. I just don't see it.
You can't mess this up.
And that's the thing.
When
Like,
you got a corner, first, when you got a corner that already has the technique, already has the playing weight coming into the league, now you just have to teach them your plays.
Yeah.
You cannot mess this up.
But here's the thing. Like I said, I got Gardner going to the Jets. And I got Kyle Hamilton. Like you said, Kyle Hamilton will be in Houston, in your mind, in your universe. He'll be on his way to Houston. I got Kyle Hamilton playing safety for the Giants already with that pick, the first pick I did for the Giants. And Garrett Wilson, to me, I think he fits that team. For some pair, I don't think Sterling Shepard is going to be there that long. And I think he's going to get traded eventually. So that opens up that slot or that number 2 receiving situation. Now, depending on what Kadarius Toney does or does not do, you still would need somebody to step up if Kenny Galladay goes down. And you lost also Evan Ingram. So you need as much help as at that offensive weapon street that you can get for Daniel Jones. If you do get offensive line help, maybe, like you said, Evan Neal went for the Giants for you. If you do go that way, you still going to need a weapon for Daniel Jones because you don't know if Saquon Barkley, one, is going to be healthy. Kenny Galladay is a question mark every damn year. And then Sterling Shepard got injured last year. And now you don't know if he really is going to be there for the foreseeable future. So why not go get a receiver like Garrett Wilson, who I think is the number 1 receiver in the draft? Like I said, it's like apples and oranges. Like if you go get him or Chris Olave, depends on who you want. I think it's like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. It's like if you get Odell Beckham, you're still going to get a pretty good goddamn receiver in Jarvis Landry. It's the same thing. Garrett Wilson, if you get him,
it's the same deal.
It's the same damn deal.
I think the difference is, though, and I think we can both agree, both of those have first-round potential. Like, don't get me wrong, Jarvis Landry had first-round potential. It was just at that time, the names that came out with him, it's like, I can see why you kind of slipped at that time.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why you slipped. Now, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, they're both first-round wide receivers, and they know it, so they're both going to go in the first round, depending on how everything does play out. They should go in the first round. Not going to guarantee him anything. It's just they should.
But you know me, I like Sauce. I like Sauce. I just haven't planned for another New York team, not the Giants.
It sounds like Sauce is about to should just get a realtor in New York because it
really does sound
like in our minds, it's like, dude, you're going to end up in New York, and yeah, man, have fun.
Yeah, that's the best we can tell you. You're going to be at a lot of Brooklyn Nets or Knicks games. Like, good luck.
Man, you're either going to watch the Nets or you're going to watch the Knicks. Good luck, my man. Good luck, bro. Like, and you know what? I think Ahmad's wherever Sauce goes, I think it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, dude, and to Michael's credit, if he pairs up with Bradbury, that's an amazing 1-2 combo right there. That should elevate your secondary
I would say
just a
this.
tad bit.
I say this. I think they kind of make the division a little weird for Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz because that's a hell of a 1-2 punch in the slot in the
And
secondary.
then we're also forgetting the fact that Xavier McKinney's back there.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there, it's like, oh, dude, 3 ball hawking secondary players. Oh crap! Oh crap!
Now they might not get a pass rush, but other than that,
I mean, if they could develop that, I mean, I think they'll develop it. I think they, with William Leonard still there, they'll develop something. I just think for me at that point at 7, you got to go BPA, and it's not so much need. It's just that's what it is. It's you got to do best player available, and I think for me, I think it's just Gardner. Should Gardner fall to them at 7? First off,
get him.
You got to do it. You got to pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just take him.
I get it. I know wide receiver could use some help. I know you could probably double dip on another offensive lineman. Maybe you pick up Thibodeau, Walker, players like that. But how many chances do you get to say, like, well, maybe this guy already knows how to play corner in the NFL too? Let's take a chance. Compared to, we have to hope this guy works out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be Gardner for the New York Giants here at 7. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because, yeah, Garrett Wilson, like I said, he's nice, man. Prior to him leaving and all that stuff, he's good. And he's nice. I mean, he played in everything, did his thing. There's nothing bad I can say about Garrett Wilson. The dude is an excellent route runner. He's got amazing world Olympic speed, and he's got hands. So you put that all together, you better figure out a way how to make this man a very pivotal part of your offense. So we'll see. We'll see. And that'll do it for today's episode. Number 7 is off the board. Brandon has the speedster of Ohio State going to the New York Giants. I have the somewhat considered consensus number 1 corner, Sauce Gardner, heading off to the Giants. We'll see. We shall see. Tomorrow, Brandon, who do we have tomorrow? Who's on the clock next?
The Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, those guys. I don't want to say it, man. I don't want to say that name. When they start winning, I'll start referring them to them. For now, they're just that team. They're that team in Atlanta.
They're Dirty Birds because they always lose leads.
All right, like for me, it's like this. Until they start showing me that they can draft like a real NFL team, that's when I'll start calling them, by their proper name. Until then, they're just that team in Atlanta. All right, when they start doing that, all right, that's when I'll.
You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
I'm never gonna let it go.
I knew Michael Parsons was the guy for you, but you gotta let it go. It happened. They got Kyle Pitts. It is what it is. I don't think Kyle Pitts knew he was gonna lose he was gonna lose out on Deshaun Watson and lose Matt Ryan in 1 year. And Calvin Ridley was gonna be gone. I don't think he thought that was gonna happen, but hey, you're in Atlanta.
And that's the thing about tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow's episode is gonna hit a lot harder than what we think. It's gonna hit a lot of nerves. Like it's gonna hit a lot, and well, hey,
I get to laugh.
You get to laugh, and I get to just say, for tomorrow, that team in Atlanta is on the clock. That team in Atlanta is on the clock.
Them birds down there, birds.
Whatever they are, there's something. There's something down there in Atlanta, and they're on the clock. So we shall see what it's gonna be weird because it's like I know I always say, what would I do if I'm Atlanta? But I don't think even Atlanta knows what to do at this point.
Trade the pick.
They might give it up for a bag of peanuts and a hot dog. I mean, understand this. That stadium. Now, here's the thing about it. That stadium in Atlanta it's nice, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
But answer me this: why would they put a Chick-fil-A in Atlanta in that stadium, knowing that Chick-fil-A's don't open on Sundays?
Because they're Atlanta. Because they're Atlanta.
Until they start making right decisions, they are just that team in Atlanta. All right? Until they start making decisions, real football decisions, they will be known to me as that team in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, that team. That team.
Yo,
But until then,
bad.
everybody, I
bad.
want to thank
Oh my
everybody
God.
that's going to tune in today. I want to thank everybody that's going to watch the show later on tonight. I want to thank everybody on Instagram Live that tuned in. Michael, thank you always for your support, my man. Everybody else, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Brandon, thank you as well. You know, it's always awesome to talk to you. We're going to talk about that team in Atlanta tomorrow, and we're going to see how that goes. You know what? I'm just going to let you lead the show up tomorrow, and I'm going to let you do all this. Because I don't want to look at their draft class. I'm like burning in my eyes right now, knowing the fact that I have to relook at their draft class and be like, oh my God, they're missing a name there.
Hey. I'm happy that they took Kyle Pitts and not Michael Parsons because I damn sure didn't want to see him 2 games in a row every damn year. That's not good. I don't like that. Let him go torture Daniel Jones. You don't need to torture us. We're good.
Yeah. Let's go take a tight end who the highest ceiling would be third best tight end in the NFL. Let's pass up on a once in a lifetime defensive player that could be good and in the Hall of Fame someday. Yeah. Good job, team in Atlanta. Either way, that's tomorrow's episode. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.